Hello everybody. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you a video of how I hooked a hydronic heating system up into a 36-foot fifth wheel RV. Now, I did this last winter when the heater that came with the trailer had messed up. So I just decided, with messing around with that for the last 2 or 3 years, 2 or 3 times a year, they're not made for 24-hour use 8 months of the year, unfortunately. So now what I did here is I made it the best I could with what I could have. So I put an ad out on Facebook and looking for somebody that might have some hydronic heating registers in your house that somebody we're taking out because everybody's getting rid of oil. So it seemed to be a good thing to do. I priced them out new, and it was like for 8 feet, it was $200. And I thought, wow, that's a lot for taking a chance that this isn't going to work. So anyway, so I just decided that I would try a cheaper route, and it seemed to be working out. So now I'm going to show you how I did it. Now what I did was, I'm going to flip the screen around, is I made registers. Now I have a this is where the old furnace used to sit in, underneath the fridge cabinet, and it was propane and it ran through the ductwork. And what I did there is I took that heater out, and there's a piece of foam in there that you can see through the grate right now. That foam is actually just there to deaden the sound. There's nothing there, no issues with anything there. I just used it to deaden the sound from the fan on the back of the heat exchanger that I put in there. It's like a small register or a small radiator like your vehicle, but it's really small. And it's got a 12-volt fan that's hooked up to the thermostat right here on this wall that reaches the temperature. And when it reaches the temperature, the fan shuts off. Like so. I'll turn it down and you can hear it. See? Just shut off. So, anyway. So now what I did with that is I pulled the gas furnace out, obviously, and I put this one in. And that's on its own loop through the heating system that I made. In here, in the back of the trailer, I built, it looks like a little storage building, and in that is actually a furnace room. And there's a wooden chase right there, if you can see the white thing on the side of it. That's just a plastic container there. But it runs in underneath the stove area. And there's a storage compartment underneath me. So that's your cargo space, I guess. Now in there, I waterproofed that box so it could, I run the lines through. And I made one loop come in on a manifold system, and it just runs this heater. And then it goes back out to the furnace. And that's stationary all by itself. And now what I did with that one, the reason why I use that one is that one there is to subsidize the heat, to make more heat, basically. So that runs through the heat ducts, and that runs down in underneath the trailer, and all the water works. Everything that, like, there's basically no insulation down underneath here at all. It's just plastic pans, and then you take the plastic pans down, then you have your storage tanks, your holding tanks and stuff. So it can freeze up and bust there pretty easily. So it's all plastic. So we're not gonna mess around with that, obviously. So I decided that I'd run that heating system through those heat ducts to maintain the water system. Now this trailer's hooked up to well and sewer and power from the road, so it's not as bad, because obviously I don't need the holding tanks, but I still want to keep them good because the water does still run through them because it's still set up like a trailer. So and then I have another loop that comes down in through that box, like I said, through this box, out of that building, off the manifold, comes down underneath the stove, and then it comes shooting up. And up underneath this cabinet here, right here, there's a line that runs in. I take the garbage can out. Underneath the garbage can, runs in, and then I stepped it up, obviously, because there's a 9-inch step here for the next level. Because this trailer's a 4-level trailer. It's a level with the bedroom, and then a cargo space is half the height of this one, and this is separate from that one. Underneath that mat, there's a door that does another 9-inch space there, and that's for cargo or whatever you want to do. And then this is your cargo space that you can run from the hatches outside. There's one in the front, or one on the entry side, and then one on the back side of the trailer. So I took the small one off. That's in the back side of the trailer. It's more or less there, I think, for access to the plumbing and everything that's all right here underneath the kitchen area. So that line is the feed, and what that does, it comes up and it steps into this corner of the TV cabinet, and then it chases the back of it. I got it all set up there nice and tight so you can hardly tell that it's there. And then I ran your base cabinet for your baseboard hot water heater cabinet from your house, and I run it through this whole section. There's an 8-foot section here that runs down that wall, and that's all full of heater. If you can see it, yeah, maybe, yeah. It's all full of register all the way back. So except for right up to the back. Oh. You can see where it stops, the cabinet stops. That's where the heat stops. So it's about less than 8 inches off the wall. And then the line continues, the heat line continues, and runs behind the sofa bed, and then it comes down to another cabinet that's 8 feet long, and runs this whole entire side of the trailer. And that compensates for a lot for the amount of wind that hits me on this side in this trailer. Actually, I can feel it shaking the trailer sometimes. There's a lot of wind coming off that field. That compensates for a lot of heat loss. So I basically made myself a little heat blanket here with the heater on both sides. This is only 8 feet wide, this trailer, so there's lots of heat in here that builds. Now, I use tablecloth plastic on those windows. Like I said, this is only an R5 R value on this trailer. And those windows are very drafty. Around all these mechanical windows here, these all crank out. And there's no real proper seal there. So they're not made for 4 seasons. This is not a 4 seasons trailer. This is a 33-year-old travel trailer, which is in decent shape for 33 years old. I will say, I did do an upgrade on the kitchen here. I haven't finished it yet. This is supposed to be white, this cabinet. And that cabinet up there is supposed to be white. And then I'm going to do some work around the windows and probably the walls and the ceiling before I sell it, because I think I'm going to sell this trailer. And then I'll do the same back here. But it's just lipstick and mascara, sweat equity kind of rebuild transformation. So it's not that bad. Plus, we're going to put new flooring in here. And all throughout the whole thing. So anyway, so get back to the heating system here. So then once it comes to this side, comes from the kitchen, wraps around, the heat line wraps around, gets to this side, then it's starting to go down on the return. So basically, I dropped it down to the bottom of this seat in this cabinet, and I built a heater cabinet underneath this seat. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's there. I built it out of a piece of ductwork. I have a metal brake, and I bent the ductwork up, just what I had around. And then on the front side, I put a 30-inch grate there, and I made a heater box inside of that cabinet. And I also have one inside of this one. Now, I didn't cut the grate yet because I didn't get the back of the cabinet done yet. I can't really see. There's a lot of junk in there. Anyway, there's another heater in there, right on that corner. You can't see it. Anyway, there's another heater in there. So it comes from this seat, it goes down to the floor, goes into the storage compartment underneath here, along the edge of where that flooring stops there, and then back up, and into the heater, the exact same heater that I put on this side. I put the exact same thing on that side, and it comes down and then it drops down just in underneath the corner here by the window, drops down back into the cargo space, and then there's a heater that runs underneath the floor and comes right across here, and I can feel it nice and warm on my feet, and goes back out to the chase. And now what that does is it heats the cabin space, because there's obviously water lines here that are run, and it works really well. So And then that goes right back out into the return manifold into the boiler room, and then goes into the tank, gets reheated, and comes back out. So that's one loop. That's the second loop. So that's my upper loop. That's my living room loop. Then I have my furnace loop all by itself. And then I have a back bedroom loop. In the bedroom, and the so this is, I broke it up to like 50% of the air space. So that's 50% of this trailer right here. It's 18 feet long from here to the front. Same from back here. So what I did is I brought another loop in from that cabinet, brought it down and around, and I shot it across the floor, down underneath this cargo space here, right straight down across, all the way in, across to the bed. And I wanted to get into the bedroom, and you can see it comes in across, and then this bed is on a pedestal. And you can raise the bed if you like. It's got cylinders there. You can raise the bed and you can store stuff underneath the bed. I don't use that. It's just a big pain in the butt to use because you have a small space to try to do anything. And so what I did is I run the lines in there, the water lines for the heating system. Now, I thought about putting a register in right here on the face here, but I didn't really want to see the register, so I didn't. I wanted this unit to look almost invisible because it wasn't made for this trailer. So I did my best to hide it. So this is a home heating system that I put into a fifth wheel travel trailer. So I built these registers to fit, and I brought the heater lines out to the front of the bed because I needed heat, because obviously we have a lot of air mass here. There's no insulation in that door. There's tablecloth plastic on it, the same as I did the rest of the windows, and there's tablecloth plastic the way I did on that window as well. So there's not much heat or R value in this trailer. So it's all mechanical. So with this, I brought the heating line out, like I said, from the front. If you can see it, from the front. And then I wrapped it all the way around. And down the other side of the bed. And then it returns into the front top of the bed. Excuse my mess there. And back out into return line. And what it does, when it comes out through there, sorry, I told you wrong. It comes out of the boiler room, through the cargo space here, through the cargo space, up into this register first. This register is in the bathroom, shoots down across, goes in underneath this vanity. You can see where I tucked it in underneath the vanity. The heating line, like I said, I tried to hide everything the best I could. And then I dropped it. There's a small cabinet here, an end table. And then I dropped it out here. Now what I did there is I put a couple valves here. Now these valves do is because it gets really hot in this bed. Like, it's basically what I did is I made a heated bed out of this system by running the water in through, and then it comes down and around that register, which is around the perimeter of the bed. This bed sits on a pedestal, like I said, and then the return line comes in. I made this on its own separate loop, basically, that I could shut off, disconnect from the rest of the heating system in the trailer. And the reason why for that was that I thought that it would get too hot in bed, and it did. I had a couple complaints there with the girlfriend. So it got a little hot there, so I decided that I want the temperature in the trailer to stay the same at 21 degrees usually. And then what I want to do is maybe make this room a little colder on its own, so I put some manual valves in. And what I do there is that valve, as you can see, I can shut this valve off, and that'll shut the bed. Shut that valve off there, and it shuts the bed off. And then I open that valve up, and that continues the loop, so there's still heat in the bathroom. So that's and then I spray foamed the cavity going in because obviously you didn't want any mice or anything to come up and, you know, just worried about rodents. But so far so good. I haven't had any rodents in this space at all, ever, which I'm happy about. But I did have mice in underneath the crawl space. I can tell that because when I pull stuff out. So, and I've caught a couple down there. So, yeah, so then basically that goes back out into this building. Now, I've been out of propane here, like I said, probably about almost 5 hours now. And not propane, oil, I guess, for 5 hours. 0 degrees outdoors, 83% humidity. That must be for outdoors. It's snowing out right now. It's 20 degrees inside, and it was 25 before the system shut down 5 hours ago. So that's pretty decent. 5 hours ago, that's 5 hours of heat, free heat, basically. That 5 hours of free heat that I got for, you know, just in the water storage tank that's out there, and what it's housed from the heating system running. So anyway, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to obviously go outdoors, and I'm going to have to go and set up the system again with the oil. So I'm going to run down and get some oil, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, we're going inside here, and I'm going to show you the rest of the system. This is what I do for a living. And there's another YouTube video coming up right here. This is actually a car shed, a shelter. It had a canvas on it at one time, and I took it and started it last fall, never finished it yet because winter came and I was away for work, so I didn't have much time. But there's going to be a poured slab underneath there, and I built a frame for it, the footing, or for the slab, and then I just fastened the carport shelter frame on top of it, and then I built a 2x4 wall in the front and the back, and sheathed it in with 3/4 inch plywood in the front and half-inch OSB in the back, just because I had it. So anyway, so that's another whole YouTube video. I took a 8x7 garage door and cut it down so it's 7.5 feet wide and 7 feet tall in order to make the swing, because I put a ceiling in it and at the 8-foot level. So anyway, like I said, I'll show you that on another YouTube video. Anyway, for now, back here in the back corner here, this is the building of the furnace room that I built. So, and it's not finished yet. It's going to have some siding on it. Should have some blown-in insulation, because believe it or not, the air temperature in this room affects the whole heating system. So if it's not warm in here, it'll affect the whole heating system inside the trailer. The heat doesn't stay in the pipes, and the pipes aren't insulated. Yeah, it all goes downhill from there. So we're inside here. Welcome to my Robin's cup of coffee. And this is the heating system. And there is a 55-gallon barrel sitting here. PVC barrel, plastic. It holds 60 gallons right to the rim, right here. When I take it down and I fill it up with the pump. I have another one that I use that I fill on the van. I haven't got it done yet. I haven't got room in the van to put it in there, to go down and fill it up and to bring it back here. I finally just took the blade off the tractor for the winter, and then we get winter again, but we shouldn't have to use the blade anymore. So now I have the bucket back on, so I can take the barrel and I can take it off the back of the van and bring it around here and transfer the barrel of oil from one tank to the other, and then take it down and refill it, and then have a second tank here sitting waiting for the next time it runs out or gets close. Now the whole idea is never run the system out, because you can actually fill it the same as your house system as the system's running. Meanwhile, that didn't happen today. Anyway, it's more of a me problem than a system problem. I didn't take a good listening of how long that was going to last. But anyway, so just not a big thing. So I just want to take the stigma away from living in a fifth wheel travel trailer, and people think, oh wow, you live in there because you're broke and you can't do nothing. Well, I want to tell you something about this system. It's pretty well as much to run this whole entire system and live in this trailer as what I did to live in my 1,400 square foot bungalow. By the time I paid the mortgage and paid everything, it was right around, I don't know, I'd say about $1,500 a month. I kept it on the low side, and this thing runs me about $800 a month. In the wintertime, it's $450 for the heating system to run, plus another $100 for the power a month. So it's right around $550, I guess, for a month to run the whole entire heating system, and that heats the trailer. Meanwhile, I'm going to hook up a heat transfer unit to the side of the system, and I'll explain this. So I have a hot water oil heater that is right there. It's full of heavy duty, I can show you it right here, Expert antifreeze. Heavy duty antifreeze from UAP. Cheapest place to get it. Anyway, $14 14 or maybe it was 18, I can't remember now, but it was less than $20 a gallon, and there's 36 of them in that tank right there. And I bought 40 at the time, and the reason why I bought 40 is because I didn't know if I was going to have a leak or whatnot, and I wanted to put it in 100%. Gives me a minus 37 temperature before this will actually freeze. And it has to be standing water or standing glyco to freeze. So basically, if this thing is still circulating with any temperature at all in this boiler, it would have to be pretty damn cold. Minus 60, I don't know, something like that, before you would even have to worry about anything in here, I hope. Anyway, we don't get that here, so that's a good thing. Now, I don't know if I can zoom this. No, I gotta zoom it out. But anyway, I'm going to show you what I did as a stupid dummy. Not paying attention, I've run myself out of oil. So I just went down with a jerry jug and got some oil in this. And now I'm going to go take the big can down and get 60 gallons worth of oil and transfer it from one tank to the other and then take it back down again. So with this system, it's pretty simple. Power's on there now. The thermostat runs into this pump, Grandfoss pump, and it's 3-stage. It's got 3 different settings on it. Now, how that works is, obviously this is the brains of the system. This is the hot water heater, and this is the inlet intake. So this comes out of the outline in the tank, and it's designed to circulate from here and go down into the trailer, into the 3 zones, or not zones, they're not zones, they're loops, into the 3 loops that I showed you inside the trailer, where they go. One in the main heater furnace underneath the fridge, and one to the front of the trailer behind in the living room and dining room area, and then another one to the bathroom and bedroom area. And I can shut those off or throttle them down to whatever I feel is necessary. Right now, I pretty well run them open. I don't find sometimes I can throttle it down, like early fall, late spring, when it gets warm, you can throttle those way down, and the water will maintain longer in here into the tank. And by doing that, it doesn't turn on as much, but by doing that, it saves money because it doesn't burn as much oil. So there's all kinds of adjustments that you can make as the seasons go along. I did that on purpose. And I can isolate each line down. If I have an issue with any of the systems, I can isolate it. Say if I blew a register into the living room, I can come out here and I can shut the living room valve down on both sides. And that'll keep water from being able to flow through either side of that manifold, which it would run backward if that didn't have a valve. Just so you know that. Just because the water flows this way, it comes up into that manifold will come down in here, and there's an air pocket here. It'll allow it to fill here. And if it filled here, it would push into wherever the leak is in the system inside. And we don't want that. So I made it so I can valve it off on both sides. and that does it for every line. I had a problem with the one underneath the fridge last year. We had a minus 40, and I had a fill of water and not glyco, and it busted the system. And I wasn't ready to do what I've got set up here now. So anyway, so I obviously was able to shut it down like that. And then I do keep this one down a little bit less than the rest of them. I don't keep this one full throttle. And the reason being, because of that, I'm on a circulator pump, which runs here, and I'm running that one line into the furnace that sits in the heat transfer unit in underneath the fridge that has a fan behind it. Now that takes 100 and, well, I've got the system set at 145 right today. That's what that system's set at right there. Right now at this temperature, I can set it at 120. I just turned it up the other day because I just wanted, I was testing something. I wanted to see how hot